So we started off with author, purpose, message. What are you trying to get across? What audience are you trying to reach? How are some ways in which you get to that audience? Who are you as an author? What purpose do you have? And how do you know what audience? And that lens never changes, right? Author, purpose, audience. Now this rhetorical triangle, okay, these three rhetorical appeals, and there's many more, but these are the three major ones. The three major rhetorical appeals, these are the top kind of methodologies and ways in which we appeal to an audience. So once you discover who you are as an author, once you discover what your purpose is, once you discover who your audience is, now you gotta try to figure out how to reach them. And if you really, really unveil and really pay attention and investigate these forms and methodologies that you go about investigating, you're gonna find that you're gonna look at messages in a completely new way. You're gonna look at the way people communicate to you, you're gonna look at what the media communicates to you, you're gonna look at the way you communicate with your friends, your family, in a completely new way, because you'll see, like Zach, right? Zach's gonna go, whoa, you're totally using Pathos. I know exactly what you're trying to do. And this, my friends, this is the most important skill. This is the most important tactic. These are the most profitable, if you will, or most leverageable techniques and skill sets that you can learn in this day and age. Because once you understand how a person is communicating to you, once you understand what they're doing and what they're kind of trying to implement and how they're doing it, nobody, listen to this, nobody will ever be able to pull the wool over your eyes again. Because you'll be able to identify who is this individual, who is this author, what's their purpose, how are they reaching this specific targeted audience or general audience, formal audience or informal audience. What appeals are they using? So this rhetorical triangle kind of dives into that, and it talks about three major appeals, right? Called the rhetorical triangle. These are just ways in which you reach your audience. These are ways in which you can communicate your purpose effectively. This is ways in which you can get your message across and be understood, right? It's all about understanding. We want to be understood as pharmacists. How are we understood with our colleagues, our coworkers, our patients, our customers, our clients? How do we reach them? Well, the first way in which you reach them, right? Probably the most significant way that every effective author, if they want to reach their audience, reaches them is by using the appeal of ethos. I want to say Eileen, am I wrong? I'm wrong? Okay, she's like, yes. She's like, yes, you're wrong. That was so awesome. If that's what you really meant, that would have been great. It was like, yes, as a matter of fact, you're wrong. Thank you. Eileen, what's an appeal using ethos? What type of an appeal is using ethos? How does an author use the appeal ethos to reach their audience? Wrong appeal, but at least you've got one of them down. Now that's a different rhetorical appeal. What appeal is she talking about, or is she discussing? Annalise? Pathos. Yeah, pathos is where we're working on emotion. We've got plenty of examples for that. But ethos, what type of an appeal is ethos? When an author, remember the universal rubric, an effective author uses details, specifics, concrete language, so that they can make their audience clearly see, paint that vivid picture, so their audience can clearly see what it is they're trying to communicate, what their purpose is. You have to grab their attention, right? You have to show your audience that you should be paying attention. You should be paying attention to this. So what is ethos? Somebody tell me. Wrong reflection essay. That's your new name now. No, give me your first name. Michelle. Michelle, yes, I knew that. Michelle, what's an appeal, when an author uses the appeal of ethos, they're doing what? They're working on your?
Like credibility, like what authority do they have to be talking about that?
Who is this person? Very good, Michelle. Who is this person sitting up here in front of a very prestigious classroom talking about writing and author and purpose and communication? Who am I? What gives me the right? What gives me the authority? Who is that person talking about political perspectives? What gives them the authority? Who is that person who says they can fix my house? What gives them the authority? Why am I trusting Cyrus? You're a pharma major, right? When he gives me a bottle of pills and says, don't take on an empty stomach. Who is he as an authority? Ethos, credibility, right? We see this all the time. When a restaurant says, established in 1942. You ever see that before, Bridget? You ever see that in a restaurant? It says, well, some of them are even like older than that. Like I saw an Irish bar not that long ago. Established in 1859. I'm like, 1859? Were we even around back then? There were Irish bars back then? Can you imagine? Top of the morning to you. I had to do my bad Irish accent, sorry. When we decide on a place to eat, now don't forget, restaurants are authors with a purpose, trying to reach an audience. What type of audience is a restaurant trying to reach? Yeah, people who love food, people who want to eat, people who are hungry, which is pretty much everybody on the planet, right? We all need to eat. So what type of message is that? What does that, an even better question, what type of impact does that have on the audience? Not Annalise, but Caroline. Line.
Line. Yeah.
Not Lynn.
No, line.
Caroline, what kind of impact does that have on audience? If you see a sign on a restaurant that says established in, 1935 or 1867.
Well, they've been around for a long time, so they have had business and they're probably a pretty good restaurant. People keep coming back.
Did you hear that, Bradley? Ashley? Did you hear what Caroline said? And not Eileen, but Courtney, did you hear that? Yeah. Cyrus, does that make sense? Well, if they've been around this long, they must be doing a pretty good job. They haven't gone out of business, right? So that means their food must be good. They have credibility, right? Now in the digital landscape that we're in, we have things like Yelp reviews, we have Amazon reviews, we have all sorts of different types of 4 stars and a 5-star Rotten Tomatoes for movies, right? Actually, Rotten Tomatoes has become a legitimate criteria now for some people. How many tomatoes does it have? 75. Right? It's become a legitimate criteria. In my day, it used to be 2 thumbs up. I don't know if any of you remember 2 thumbs up. You do, Zach? Oh, wow, I don't feel so old. What a day. It used to be, if any filmmaker got 2 thumbs up on their film, that increased their box office revenue by at least 20-30%, if not more. If not just completely more, 60-70. If a restaurant gets a bunch of good Yelp reviews, 5-star reviews, what does that tell us? Rate My Professor. How many people look at Rate My Professor? God, some of those I look on, I'm like, holy macadamia nut. Is there this many bad professors out there? Can't be. It's got to be the only people who go on there are people who complain. Am I wrong? Are there actually people who give good reviews? I try to stay away from mine because I know it'll just mess me up. And I try to stay away from it. I don't even look. I really don't. You don't believe me, but I really don't try to look. Because I just try to do my gig and just do the best that I can and just let the chips fall where they may, because you can't please everybody, so you might as well not try to please anybody. You can't please everybody. You just can't. It's impossible. So if you do you, right, Herman? If you go all in on you, you'll never lose. If you go all in on you, you're always going to have people who hate you. You're always going to have people who like you. But if you know you, it doesn't matter. At least it doesn't get too sticky. It always hurts. The bad ones always hurt. I don't care how cool you think you are. If you get a couple of dislikes here or that there on my YouTube channel or what have you, it stings, it does. Or some kind of comment. You're a human being, right? But don't let it get too sticky. That's the key. Ethos. How many people have ever seen this commercial? 9 out of 10 dentists agree that Dentadine is the best toothpaste on the market. Hey, you with the yellow teeth, get some Dentadine. I don't even think that's a real brand, is it? Look at Cyrus. Cyrus is like, actually, it's not. Professor Nez, I have no idea what you're talking about. It's not a real brand. Nice try. So 9 out of 10 dentists. What kind of an impact, Bradley, does that have? Why not 10? Who's that one dentist? I disagree. I don't think that Dentadine is any good at all. I'm going to be that 10th dentist that says, You've seen that commercial, right, Jessica?
9 out of 10 dentists. 9 out of 10 doctors.
What does that do for the audience? 9 out of 10, that's 90%, right? Kylie?
Yeah.
You thought I forgot. We're here. 9 out of 10. What does that do for the audience? Well, if 9 out of 10 dentists give it the certification,
They want to buy it.
you're like, holy mackerel, I want that scope stuff. Or I want that mixture. I love the, you know what my favorite now is? My wife laughs at me. I like the shit with the, it's got like, it's Crest with the mouthwash. What is that called? Like Blast or something like that? And it's like a dance party in my mouth when I'm done. Like, it's so good, I love it. That's my favorite toothpaste. I don't do Colgate or the white stuff. The really white stuff, it's like kind of like medicine. I like the shit that makes your mouth sing. You know what I mean, Zach? It worked on me. That commercial worked on me. I don't know. 9 out of 10 dentists. Now, if they said 10 out of 10 dentists, why does that not have the same ring to it? If they said, yeah, Michelle.
Like too good to
It's almost like artificial, right? It feels fraudulent. But 9 out of 10 dentists, well, they must have ethos. They must have credibility, right? When you go into, let's keep it on the health tip. When you go into a doctor's office, and what do you see in the waiting room or in their office? You see their diplomas, their degrees, Harvard, Chapman, right? Stanford. I went to Stanford Dental School. Who are you? Peon. I don't know. Don't worry about it. What does that do for you? If you're sitting in that office, you're going, whoa, right? Those schools, like Harvard, Stanford, Chapman, they have association, right? Now, if it said something like, you know, the online certified Tijuana dentist school or something like that, like, this guy's gonna drill my teeth? You know, it kind of doesn't, the drills don't look too new, right? It's like, you have a degree, right? Oh yes, I got it online. I have to go. I have another dentist appointment. So but we see that all the time. We see it in dentists, doctors. We see it when we go to contractors' offices. We see it in engineers' offices. We see those diplomas. Even people put them in their rooms, right? Or they put them in their offices, whether in sales, accounting, or pharmacy, what have you, right? What does that do? It creates trust. It creates credibility. So ethos is a very, very powerful appeal. And you use it, here's the thing, it's happening every single day of the week. You use it every single day, you just might not be aware of it. Here's that common denominator again, that word awareness. Right, Kylie? We use it all the time. We use ethos all the time. The next rhetorical appeal. Eileen, I think you know this one. Right? You know this one. Pathos. Eileen, what is the rhetorical appeal? When an author is using pathos, they're appealing to the audience's emotions. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You see that cat missing an ear? Meow. Its meow is a little bit off. And there's always that lady, right? She's like, just for 10 cents a day, you lazy bastard. If you give 10 cents a day, then Muffy has a place to live. And Muffy's like, right? And you're like, holy mackerel, I want Muffy to have a place to live. Something's not right. So what do? Honey, give me the phone. Okay, give me the phone. Like we have like phones anymore that are plugged in? Honey, where's my phone? Yes, I don't want to donate 10 cents. I want to donate 30 cents. Because I feel for Muffy. Muffy deserves a house. Just for 10 cents a day. If it's not a cat, it's usually something more serious, like some deprivation in some part of the world. But they're trying to pull on your what? Yeah, sympathy. Mostly guilt, really. But the intention is to make you feel emotional about it, right? Emotional appeals are probably the most powerful appeals. When people inspire you, when people can reach into your heart and speak on that level, you almost, as I said it from day one, I'm not a big fan of people teaching me anything or telling me what to do, but if you inspire me, I'm a slave for life. Something about when people inspire me, I'm moved. Pathos is a very powerful rhetorical appeal. Any kind of emotion, laughter, humor is probably the most underrated emotional appeal, right? I mean, every Super Bowl commercial has pathos humor, right? Humor is a huge way of getting a brand across or getting some type of point across, right? Humor, doctors use it all the time. They use humor when delivering news. It's maybe not the best kind of news you want to hear that day, right? I mean, not in like a, you gotta be careful, it's a fine line, right? But you're not in a sarcastic or malicious way, but trying to ease the patient's uncomfort or discomfort. Trying to break the ice when you first meet a patient using humor is a beautiful way of doing that. The best example I can think of with humor is this, and the best example of pathos. This is probably one of the best examples I can think of. The most boring thing on the planet to talk about, literally, Ashley will back me up on this, the most boring thing on the planet to talk about, nobody says, I want to do this on the weekend, or nobody says, let's take a vacation and do this, is car insurance. Nobody on the planet likes to, you have to have it by law, right? You have to have it. There's no choice. And plus, you're afraid to use it. Because if you use it, right, what happens? Your insurance premiums go up. So it's such an amazing, like, catch-22. You're screwed, you use it, you're screwed, you don't. Can anybody tell me, on a logistic level, what does a caveman have to do with car insurance? Oh my God, don't tell me you're too young for this commercial.
It's so simple, caveman. Yeah.
So what does a caveman have to do with car insurance? Has anybody not seen this commercial? The Geico commercial? Right? Oh, this would have worked if you guys were a little bit older. What do we usually associate with Geico? Is that stupid lizard, right? The gecko? That's not funny. But back in the day, I didn't think it was that long ago. Gosh, I got to get some new material. It was like 2005. It wasn't that long ago, was it? Does nobody remember those commercials? Bradley? Eileen? Michelle? Okay, for sake of time, I'll show it a little bit later. But you can think of any campaign, right? What does a cartoon have to do with Cheetos? Zero, right? So easy a caveman could do it. Car insurance and cavemen have this much in common, zero. But you knew exactly what company I was talking about, which is Geico. Why do people, and how much can you save if you call now? How much can you save? See, everybody remembers that. Whether you like the gecko, which I don't like the gecko, or the caveman, nobody wants to talk about car insurance. Hey, Monty, meet me this Saturday. Why, is there a bitchin' party to go to? No, dude, we're gonna talk some Geico shit. Monty's gonna be like, you're nuts. I'm not doing that, right? But look at what the genius, the brilliance behind Geico. Pathos. Pathos. What about physical attraction? Isn't that an emotional appeal? Everybody remember that Carl's Jr. commercial with that girl in the yellow bikini in it? Eating that cheeseburger, right? Does anybody have any reasonable reason, practical reason, why a sexy supermodel, what does that have to do with the cheeseburger? Goose egg. It has nothing to do with the cheeseburger. But did we pay attention? Guess who paid attention more than the men? Can anybody tell me? Do you know what I'm talking about? It was this red Corvette, and the girl is wearing a bikini. You see this all the time, right? Physical attraction is an emotional appeal. Michelle, why do you look so sad?
I haven't seen the commercial.
Well, it's not that big of a deal. It's just like every other commercial where they use physical attraction as an emotional appeal, right? Every other Carl's Jr. commercial. So this girl looks amazing, right? Supermodel is eating a cheeseburger. It says Carl's Jr. The girl itself has nothing to do with cheeseburgers. It has nothing to do with the quality of that hamburger. But what's the advertisers trying to do? They're trying to get your attention by what? Appealing to your? Yeah, your emotions. Okay, so a lot of us don't even realize this, but we're getting a lot of our sense of style, our sense of what's, the appropriate way to look, whatever society standards are. Maybe unconsciously we're getting that from media. And a lot of advertisers are just kind of perpetuating this image. Right or wrong, you can argue that for days, but the point is it's real. It's a real thing. And that girl wearing a yellow bikini has this much to do with hamburgers, 0. But, I mean, I was watching a commercial the other day. I don't even know what it was. It was 2 like models playing volleyball on the beach. I thought it was like a volleyball tournament. It was a yogurt commercial. What the hell does this have to do with yogurt? Goose egg. Goose egg. 0. It has nothing to do with yogurt. But the point is that physical attraction, the need to be desired, right? That's an emotional appeal. Everybody wants to feel attractive. I don't care how cool you think you are, everybody wants to feel attractive. Does that make sense? Pathos is so powerful. It's probably the most powerful emotional appeal. And then logos. Logos, last but not least. So any questions on ethos? Any questions on pathos? On how those appeals are used? And this document gives you a few examples of just definitions, clear-cut definitions of what those 3 are. But I'm going to tell you this, they're going to keep coming back and back and back, right? These 3 rhetorical appeals. There's many ways to reach your audience. There's many ways to appeal to your audience. These are the 3 major ones, the Aristotelian triangle, the 3 rhetorical appeals, ethos, pathos, last but not least, logos. And what appeal is logos? What type of an appeal is logos? Very simply, that's it. We use it every single day. We use it every single day. Hey, Courtney, I don't really have enough gas today. I know we carpool all the time, but do you mind if you carpool? And I'll tell you what, I'll give you $10 gas, and then next week I'll do all the driving. Well, logically, that makes sense, right? Or let's just stick to advertising. Let's just stick to advertising, right? The new Prius. Gas prices are going up. Gas is destroying the environment, right? You know, the economy is still kind of funky, right? Even though, you know, maybe there's some perception out there that it's not. People are still struggling, right? It makes sense for you to sell that gas guzzling SUV. Just logical sense, right? And buy a hybrid, doesn't it? You save more, it's more reliable, it's more dependent, and you're not killing the planet. Just logic. We use that every single day. We just might not be aware of it. So logos is a really, really big one. Do you still have some space on there?
Yeah.
Okay, just one more. Does that make sense? Logos? Yeah, Michelle.
So like, let's say it's like a commercial, but it's for weight loss.
Yeah.
But it's like a really skinny, pretty girl.
Yeah.
So which one would that lead more towards? Like, those or ethos?
Good question. Good question. Can you use the rhetorical appeals simultaneously? Absolutely. Capital A-B, absolutely. Yes. Great question, Michelle, and I apologize for not clarifying that. Ethos and logos, I would say, and pathos, all of those. You can use all 3 in one. Sometimes you use more ethos, sometimes you use more pathos, sometimes you use more logos, sometimes you use all 3 equivalently, proportionately. Yes, absolutely, right? So you can use the appeals simultaneously. You can use hybrids of each appeal if you want to. And a lot of authors do that. Like, what am I doing right now? Like, I'm being very dramatic, kind of, right, with my movements, but not phony dramatic, but just passionate, hopefully, at least that's coming across. I'm also using humor, and I'm hopefully using ethos with my 3 degrees and the experience I have in writing books. So am I using all the rhetorical appeals? I think so. I mean, I hope so. I'm trying to use a little humor too, because I know that's engaging. You know? Not the funniest of them, but I'm trying. Yes, Michelle. Yeah.
Like, how do you get your audience to kind of listen to what you're saying? They don't really hear.
Excellent question. Excellent question. You would have to have at least more authority, I would say. You'd have to have at least more authority than your audience. You don't have to have the expert title. This is a great question. If I want to speak on, let's say, I want to speak on being a college student, but I'm a freshman, right? How would I do that? How would I have any credibility if I've only been in college for 3 weeks, right? Well, there are people who've never been to college. There are people who've been in college 0 weeks. So it's kind of like that concept. It's a great question. I'm so glad you asked it. A 4th grader can teach a 3rd grader, right? A but a fourth grader probably is not going to do well in 6th or 7th or 8th, trying to teach a bunch of 6th or 7th or 8th graders about grade school, right? But if there's somebody, there's always somebody who knows a little bit less. So if you can appeal, so you have to know your audience. So this is about ethos. This is about the rhetorical situation. You as an author, you have a purpose, but you got to know who your audience is, and then you can establish that authority. And plus, if you research your topic and you're able to extemporaneously deliver, and you're not always looking at a piece of paper, you're not always looking at a PowerPoint, but you can just spit it, right? It's in here. People are going to be like, well, she did her homework. She's done her research, right? I don't need to look at anything for all this stuff that I'm telling you, because I eat, sleep, and breathe it, right? If you eat, sleep, and breathe what you love, there will always be people who listen. Because they'll be like, you know what? She may not be this person or that person who are considered experts in their field, but God, she's got a lot of heart, she did her homework, she's done a lot of research, and I'm learning. And I used to think I was an expert, and I'm learning, right? So that's interesting. You would really have to target your audience specifically. People who maybe are not as experienced in that topic as you are. Because you're not going to probably get ahead by teaching people who are above your level of expertise. Does that make sense? So very logically, actually. That was an appeal of logos. Right there I just used. We use this stuff every single day. We just might not be aware. Example. Here's an example. I'm going to try to use all three, and I'm going to try to do this off the cuff. Example. Let's try to use all three rhetorical appeals. You ready, Bradley? Okay, Bradley. Let's go to lunch. I know we plan on going to lunch. I want to ask you for a favor, okay? I'm a little bit short on cash. This In-N-Out down the street, they're having a 2-for-1 deal. Buy one hamburger, buy 2 hamburgers, get 1 free. So if we ask Ashley to go with us, get 2 hamburgers, I can eat for free, plus her mom. There's that waitress, that really cute waitress that her mom likes. She's working today. You can get her mom to come too. Are you down? And then I'm trying to convince him, right, to go on this path. Now he wanted to eat Subway. He didn't want to eat In-N-Out. And he's got money. He's fine. What appeals? How many appeals was I trying to use to convince him to go to In-N-Out? What was the first one when I said I'm a little bit short on cash? They're having a 2-for-1 deal. What type of an appeal was that? Yeah, but also maybe a little what? Somebody said logos, but what's another one? Pathos. Yeah, right? Oh, and I forgot to add. Bradley? It's the top rated In-N-Out on Yelp in the entire county. What appeal is that? Ethos. What was the one where I said Herman likes the waitress there? What type of appeal was that? Say again? Pathos. Why? Pathos. Because emotion, that's an emotion, right? That's an emotional appeal. Physical attraction, an emotional appeal. This is somebody you desire, somebody maybe possibly, that you feel a connection with emotionally, right? And it appeals to our sense of desire, our sense of, feeling connected, our sense of the opposite sex, all that stuff, right? Or the same sex, doesn't matter, right? Just that feeling of connection on that level, emotional level. Here's again, last thing. We use these every single day. We use ethos. We use pathos. We use logos every single day. Sometimes 10, 20 times a day. We just might not be aware of it. The more aware you are of it, the more power you have. Meaning, not power in a dictator way, but meaning you'll be a more effective author, you'll be a more effective communicator, and you'll know how to target your audience more specifically using specific rhetorical appeals.